Hey everybody, it is Thursday, March 16th. I don't know what am I doing finger guns for? Anyways, yeah, it's March 16th. So I know I want to say it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago now. I made a video saying like, I'm back to every week videos. That didn't happen. You know, I make a lot of promises on this channel that I can't keep. I gotta just stop making promises. Well, it wasn't even so much a promise. It was just more so saying that I'm back to not isolating for 4 months in a row, and not making any videos or anything like that, because I know that some people have messaged me, at least in recent months. My messages have kind of gone up, from people saying, hey, I've watched your HPV videos, or your videos on sexual assault, videos on domestic violence, videos on whatever, A, B, C, D, E, F. There are videos on a vast range of what I've talked about, and said, can we talk to you about this, or can I talk to you about my own experience? Can I ask you questions about the disease that you had, how serious it was, what I should expect? You know, there's a million different ways that people have. A million is an exaggeration, it's like a dozen, but you know, it's about a dozen different ways that people have messaged me and asked me for advice or just someone to talk to, and that's generally, oh my god, we're a minute and a half in and I'm already fumbling up words. I'm genuinely trying to get that point across at the end of each video when I say my socials are in the description. Please utilize them to whatever, you know, to whatever you want them to be there for. You can just know that they're there for a rainy day, that you're bored, or that you need somebody to talk to, or you can message me right away and say, hey, I need help with something. Or just I need somebody to talk to that's not my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my best friend, you know, my teacher. Like, you know, it can just be a neutral third party. That's what I'm here for. But that being said, the word I just used a few minutes ago, or 2 minutes ago, isolation, is kind of the thing I want to talk about today. I'm not really sure I've like, why do I keep wanting to say generally talk about this? I don't think I've genuinely talked about this, like, to, like, the full extent of what that word, like, really means, or really can feel like. I want to talk about my own personal experience. I want to talk about how I've seen it in others, and I want to talk about how serious it can be, how it can lead into depression, or how depression can be the cause of isolation, and just some warning signs that you can see through people, and how they've been isolating, or the ways that they interact, to kind of head off some more serious issues that can be created in the future should you either not reach out to try to help that person that you care about, love, you know, you're friends with, coworker, whoever, or if you are that person, just some things to kind of keep in mind. I'm not gonna give anything that's like, you need to follow this advice. Like, that's never been my MO here on this channel. It's just to share my own life experiences and just kind of talk about these subjects and kind of bring them to light, and just hope that maybe one of my life experiences can help somebody out there. And for the most part, it seems like they have, and that's not like a conceited, self-righteous, like, oh yeah, I'm making the world better. It's just, the point of my channel seems to be doing what I intended to do it for the beginning. Otherwise I wouldn't still be doing it. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to talk about 2 things that'll be for next week's videos, plural, 2 videos, because there's going to be one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. Oh, yeah. But now I gotta slow it down a little bit because I'm getting out of breath already. So isolation for me personally has looked like what the last 4 months looked like. Yeah, I was focusing on myself, focusing on my own health, but I have been cooped up in this little 12-foot by 12-foot bedroom. I have my own little mini fridge over here. I have food on top. I have drinks in the fridge, not alcoholic drinks to be specific, but like water bottles and caffeinated drinks and, Gatorades and, you know, whatever. And my snacks of choice are not exactly healthy either, but I haven't been eating too unhealthy, and yet my weight continues to skyrocket, so I'm trying to get in to see a nutritionist to help that out. It's not that, like, I haven't been doing any exercise. I still work, you know, 4 days a week for 10 hours, so I should be at least maintaining weight, and it just completely went out of control those 4 months that I wasn't doing my YouTube channel. So definitely going to get in to see a doctor finally because of my gallbladder issues, but that's for a different day. Or rather, lack of gallbladder issues, since I had it removed 6 years ago. But isolation for me has looked like just cooking myself up in here, watching videos, watching YouTube videos, journaling, eating food, sleeping, or even just laying in bed and just texting away, texting people, texting friends, and I've even tried to make plans, but either they fall through or at the last second I'll be like, nah, I just don't want to hang out. But that's what isolation will do to someone, is that, and that's a fact. Like you will get so used to being alone and on your own that eventually your brain is just not going to need those other people around. You're not going to need that support system. Well, that's not technically a fact, but it's been proven that the longer that you isolate, the less you need other people to kind of function, I guess is the way to put it. So it's just the more, it's like, I think there was something that came out like years ago that was like, you need to, in order to break like a really bad habit, you need to stop doing it for 3 weeks straight. Like to stop biting your nails, stop doing it for 3 weeks straight. To stop drinking caffeine, stop drinking for 3 weeks straight. Like it's like certain mechanisms you need to stop doing for 3 weeks straight to kind of reprogram your brain into not needing those kinds of things. And it's the same thing kind of goes for isolation, is that when you've programmed your brain not to need other people, not to need that outside contact, not to need anything other than work and sleep, your brain just kind of goes, okay, I just need work and sleep, and then that's all you need. So when people say, hey, want to come hang out, you might say yes, but then when the day comes to hang out, you're like, nah, never mind. Because it's just, your brain is just programmed to say, forget about that. Not forget about your friends, just forget about being in the outside world besides what you have to do to earn a paycheck and what you want to do to enjoy the company of other people. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, is just kind of where the idea of hanging out with people sounds great. The actual hang out with people seems terrifying. And that's not to be like, that sounds weird saying out loud, but like my brain has become so programmed to being alone. Like just completely, I only chuckle because it's my defense mechanism. I've talked about that at long length. Actually, I don't think I've talked about defense mechanisms in a video. I'll talk about that in a different video. But chuckling is kind of mine. So, my brain has kind of convinced me that I don't need anybody else to function day to day, and that could be far from the truth. Or couldn't be farther. Oh my god, couldn't be further from the truth. There we go. There are the words. But I have pretty much trained myself to think that, or train my brain at least to think that I don't need anybody else in my outside world. Like texting and messaging and video chatting people is a completely different entity than actually physically being there, being face to face, being able to hug them, hold them, give them high fives, whatever, than just, looking at each other through a video screen or texting each other for 3 hours or whatever. So, not having that human-to-human interaction for months, I mean literal months at this point, except for once, and that was a month ago, and that was, I'm not going to talk about that. Yeah, let's not talk about that. It's not what you think, it's just not, it's not what you think. Let's just not talk about it. It was not what I envisioned, hanging out with somebody for the first time in months to be, but, I mean, it was nice. But there's just, isolation just can look like a lot of different things. Let me get off this train, because I could talk about this. I can get onto that thought and talk about it for another hour. So let me get off of that train. Sorry, I'm just watching my timer so I make sure I don't overshoot my camera length. The isolation can look like a lot of different things. It can be, I mean, it can just be straight up depression. It can be anxiety, but like isolation specifically can look like overeating, it can look like not showering, it can look like not getting a haircut, it can look like an overgrown beard, it can look like not doing your laundry. I don't know if I just said that. I just said not showering. I didn't say not doing laundry. It can be not cleaning your room, not cleaning your car, not driving your car, not showing up to work, like unexcused absences, just so I don't feel well, or just not showing up to work. It can look like a lot of different things. There's a lot of different things that isolation looks like. Fortunately for myself, and I do say fortunately because I'm not trying to say like, you know, I'm not trying to say that other people are, you know, doing like a worse off job at isolation, because there's no like good and bad isolation. Isolation is just kind of shitty all around. Not to say that it's bad, because there's different things that can cause it. But it's kind of shitty all around because it can cause a whole lot of different things, but for 99% of it, it's negative. It's not positive things. It's not like, I'm in complete isolation mode, I ran a mile today. It's like, no, I'm in isolation mode today, I slept for 17 hours. You know, it's just like, it's the vast opposite, or the complete opposite of what you'd expect out of somebody who's going out into the world, going out and doing something productive all day, is what happens with somebody who's in isolation, which is just, you know, it's kind of, what's the word to use? Self-explanatory, that, you know, if you're in isolation, you're not going to be doing stuff that's out in the world. It's not going to be productive. You know, you're not going to be out running errands. You're not going to be out around people at all. And I have actually actually in the past maybe 3-4 years, I've had to have like a genuine fear of being around large crowds, like a genuine fear. I was always always able to go like at a golf course and be around like massive amounts of people. Yes, it's scattered around, but it's still, you show up at the clubhouse and you're around 50 people all in the clubhouse at once, and then the restaurant, and then the golf course. Even though it's scattered around, you're still in the golf course at one time with hundreds of people. You know, dozens, hundreds of people, and you know, just being around that many people at once, like, I love it. It's amazing. Concerts, you know, used to go to a million of those. Hockey games, used to go to a bunch of those. Baseball games, used to go to a bunch of those. Just, you know, there's a lot of events. My hometown high school football team, I used to go to their games all the time just to see the marching band I used to be in. There's a lot of things I used to do around large crowds that just for the past few years I've really noticed a drop off in, and it has nothing to do with the pandemic, like literally nothing. It was before the pandemic as well. It was just a complete drop off of wanting to do anything social, like just anything. I didn't want to be around large crowds at all. And then there was a particular instance, was it last year? Crap. When was it? It was last summer. June 2022. Sorry, I forgot what year it was. 2023. June 2022, I was invited to a wedding for like a friend of a friend. Like, it wasn't like anybody directly related to me, or like directly in my life. Like, it was a literal friend of a friend. But they were like, hey, do you want to come with? You know, I was kind of their plus one because they didn't have anybody else to go with, and I'm like, sure, why not? And when it got time closer to, I'm getting like fidgety now. When the time got closer to go to the actual event, I messaged them like, hey, I can't go. And they're like, oh, what's wrong? Are you sick? I'm like, nope. They said, are you busy? Nope. Are you having, like, wait, what's going on? And I'm like, I can't go. And they're like, is it something I did? I'm like, no, you have nothing to do with what I'm saying right now. I can't explain how I'm feeling right now. I can't explain this. Pardon me. But I was like, I cannot explain what's happening right now. All I can say is that I can't do this because it's going to be the focus is not going to be on the bride and groom. The focus is going to be on the person that's passed out in the pew. Because I'm going to faint. I was like, I have a very, very, very like crippling fear of large crowds right now. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I was like, I think it might just be because I've become so isolated, and not even on purpose, just that friendships don't seem to be there anymore. And what I mean by that is that isolation for me has also looked like not going to hang out with those people, but also feeling like and this is where like that crippling depression comes in, feeling like I'm tolerated and not liked. And I feel like that's a feeling that a lot of people feel like, because you're always the one to start the conversation. And now this is not a jab at anybody. If anybody that is in my friendship circle is watching this video, this is not a jab at any of you. I'm just saying in general, it feels like I'm the person that's always starting the conversation. It seems like, I'm not saying that it is, I'm saying it seems like, it feels like, this is what I feel. This is not what I'm deeming fact, okay? This is what I feel though. It feels like I'm always the person that's starting the conversation and not the person that's being conversed with. Like, you know, that has somebody saying, hey, how's it going? I just thought of you and I just want to check in on you. It's only when I post like a message on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever, it's just like, oh, what is life? Why am I even here? Who would care if I'm gone? Blah, blah, blah. My pain is so severe. So when I post like a really depressing, and I don't know why I do that either, but it's not for attention. I think it's just an outlet that I don't have. I don't have golf right now, and I should have found just another hobby in my life besides golf, because the one thing that I do as a hobby I can't do because of my back, and it's driving me nuts. But I think that's the only way I can outlet my grief, my anger, my frustration, my sadness, all of it. And I think when those messages go out there into the world and into my friendship circles, that's when I get 50 messages at me going, are you okay? What's going on? What's happening? Can we talk to you? What do you need? If you ever need anything, talk to me. It's like, but I just need a friend in general when I'm not, you know, having my whole world implode on me. Like, and it just feels like when I'm not having my world implode on me, you guys are just like, oh, he's fine. Okay, see ya. You know, it's just like, I feel like everybody's my therapist. And then, you know, when everything's going well, they're like, okay, talk to us when you're falling apart again. And then, you know, that's my friendship with everybody is just, I am the charity case to all my friends. I'm just the person that needs help. I'm the sick little puppy on the side of the road that needs to be picked up and nurtured back to health. It's like, that's not what I am. I'm 30 years old. Like, I don't have everything figured out. I'm going to be 31 in a month. I don't have everything figured out. I'm definitely going through a lot. I'm definitely got a lot of things going on just in the next 2 months, which I will get to in a different video. That is going to... Oh, let me take a drink of water because I'm getting out of control here. Oh, man. Whew, full stop. There's definitely a lot of things I don't have under control yet. There's definitely a lot of things I have to work through. But friendships are not supposed to just be therapy talks. They're supposed to be, let's go out and hang out, let's go out and grab a bite, let's go out and talk, let's go out for a walk. Not even let's go out, let's hang out inside, or let's just go and let's just hang out at somebody's house and chat, or watch a movie, or eat some food, or play a board game, or play a video game. Just something friendly. Every single time it feels like I'm being talked to, like they're my therapist. Like, oh, how's it go? What's happening? What's going on? Are you okay? Like, it's like I don't want to talk about my problems all the time. Like, you have no idea how bad that feels. That A, you guys keep treating me like I'm a charity case, and B, you guys keep like sucking the problems out of me, making me talk about them when I'm already feeling bad about them, and then you're making me talk about them. I don't want to say making me because, like, yes, I have the choice to say no, like, I don't want to talk about it. But, like, when so many people are messaging me, like, talk to us, talk to us, talk to us, at some point I got to give in and talk to one of them because I can't say no to 17 people at once because it's just, that gets exhausting. So it's exhausting just being those people's friends because it just feels like I'm being drawn to them as a charity case, as you have a bunch of problems, let us help you. And not, you're our friend, let's be friends and hang out and do friend stuff. And the more and more I feel like that, the more I get bogged down. And I guess it's kind of what drives me into isolation a little bit more, is that I feel like I have a lot of, I don't want to say fake friends out there, because that's not, if they didn't message me that kind of stuff, that would show they didn't care. So they obviously care, I just don't think they know what I need as a friend, or maybe, I don't know, but it would just be nice if, like, once in a while they just message me, hey, let's go hang out and grab a bite to eat, or let's go out and take a walk, let's do this, let's do that, or just, hey, can I come over, can we hang out, watch a movie? Like, every single time it's a message, hey, how are you, what's going on, do you want somebody to talk to? Like, it's like, I don't want to talk about my problems all the time. I know it sounds like I do, like, I know this YouTube channel makes it sound like I do, but I don't want to talk about this stuff all the time. I genuinely don't. It makes me feel like shit. Like, I've got to have some happy stuff to talk about, too. Like, that's why I have a bunch of videos on this channel that talk about, like, funny stories that have happened in my life. You know, it's just like, you know, when I shit my pants in high school. Like, that was a funny story, even though landing me in the hospital. You know, I've got to have the good balance the bad. So there's shit that happens in my life that's awful. There's good that's really good. And then there's, you know, that stuff in between that just kind of juggles everything, you know, out to a balance. So you know, there's not, yes, the bad stuff is bad, but it's all the same stuff. It's my pain, it's my depression, it's my anxiety. It hasn't changed. It's all the same exact stuff. It's more so that it's consistently there, and there's not much to do about it. That kind of keeps me bogged down. It doesn't ever. There's nothing ever lifting it back up, you know, or even smacking it back up. Like, hey, Alex, wake up! Like, your life isn't so miserable and shitty. But I still have things I'm working through, and isolation for a lot of other people can look like just depression, anxiety. Can look like they never want to do anything. They're never out of the house. Like I said, they're never shaving, they're never showering, they're never doing laundry. And some of the warning signs to look for are just that. Just to say, like, hey, are you, like, you doing okay? But again, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite. Like, sometimes you need to say, like, hey, are you doing okay? But I'm always, I have my hair cut. You know, I've had the beard because everybody keeps questioning if I'm like 20 years old if I shave, so I just keep the beard going full length just because. Well, and I think I look better that way, but like I'm never like scraggly with like hair coming out every you know. I don't have like hair coming out of my ears like 2 inches long. Like, you know, I keep everything well groomed, so like, you know, that's never an issue. But you know, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite and say like you can't ask people like how they are. It's just that it feels like in my life personally, it feels like that's every message I get. It's never, do you want to hang out? Do you want to grab a bite to eat? It's always, how are you doing? Is everything okay? What's going on? It's never a friendly ask. It's always a worried ask, basically, and it just feels very much like a maturity case. Very much like I'm a sad, sick little puppy. That's not who I am. My pain, my depression, my anxiety are not who I am. It's part of who I am, and I think people are misconstruing the two. But sometimes you have to ask the person that you're seeing all these warning signs in, hey, is there something I need to know about? Is there something that's going on? Is there something I should worry about? And they say, nope, nothing's going on. You don't have to worry about me. It's usually a sign that there is something going on, especially if they answer kind of like that. Because if you ever see something like that, I wouldn't text, hey, how's it going? Is everything going okay? Because you can't hear how they're saying the thing they're putting in text. They might just say, hey, I'm fine, everything's okay, but out loud they might be like, yeah, no, everything's okay, I'm fine. They might be looking off, you know, typing it out. You know, in person, they might be doing a completely different interaction than what they're doing through text. That's why I always, if I feel like I see like a warning sign like that kind of thing, I'll always call, I'll video message and say, I demand you send a video message back. like you either send one back or I'm FaceTiming you. It's going to be one or the other. But it's basically, you know, I don't want to say force issue because you gotta be careful with those instances, because if somebody's kind of tiptoeing on the edge of depression, anxiety, or just isolation in general, pushing them a little bit too hard right out of the gate can kind of send them back into isolation and pull them away from you. And if you keep pushing them to talk, you might be pushing them further and further back into isolation. So definitely be careful with this kind of thing. But obviously, like I said, just texting like, hey, you okay, and getting, yeah, I'm okay back can be, yeah, I'm okay, or yeah, I'm okay, or yeah, I'm okay. Like, it's can be 3 different ways. It can be 10 different ways you're saying it. You know, so you got to make sure that you're careful in how you interact when you're asking a question like that. And 100% of the time when people have asked me if I'm okay, they're always texting me. They have never video chatted me. They have never video messaged me. They have never come over to my house to ask me. They have never asked to hang out to see if I'm okay. Like, every single time it's a text. So every time I say, like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm doing all right, they're like, okay. And I'm like, it's not that I'm, like, egging them on to be like, no, I'm not okay. What are you talking about, you asshole? Like, that's not what I'm doing. But, like, you can see what I mean. Like sometimes I'll message them, yeah, I'm okay, but, like, I'll be in bed, like, and I haven't gotten out of bed for 7 hours. Like, so clearly I'm not okay, but they don't know that because I'm texting them I'm okay. My point is, oh, man. See, there are times when I can rattle off 1,000,000 words a minute and make sense. Because I think I have most of this video. was something. There was a point I was going to get to at some point here, but I forgot what it was. Shit. I had the point and I veered off into, like, hang on, let me backpedal a second here because I was going a little too hard in the paint there. Basketball reference. Oh, so I wanted to talk about that before I got into this. So a week from today, I am doing official, for the first time ever, psychological, well, not first time ever, but first time in 15 years, psychological testing. But I'm getting tested for something that I talked about in a previous video. I think I labeled the video something along the lines of like a misdiagnosis, 14 years ago. Holy shit! Like, what does this world come to? Something like that. Like, if I was misdiagnosed 14 years ago, holy shit! There's, I don't know, something like that. So I'm being officially tested for ADHD, which, if this video has been any proof of that, I definitely have. My psychiatrist is like, you definitely have ADHD. It's just to have it on paper that you are clinically diagnosed would be beneficial for your own sake, so that way you have the peace of mind that, yep, it's on paper. Here's what you have. But then she added, I think 2 weeks ago, she added in. And we had kind of brushed over this topic, like when I initially saw her in October, and then November a little bit, and then December a little bit, but like we really started to dive into it in January, and then she added the test in 2 weeks ago, and that test is for to see if I land on the autism spectrum at all. And we had kind of brushed over this because there were some things that like I've seen in my own life, and a psychologist in the past has kind of pointed out to me. She's like, have you ever been tested for autism? I'm like, nope. And she's like, has anybody ever told you might have it? I'm like, nope. She's like, has anybody ever told you have anything other than ADHD? I'm like, nope. And she's like, okay, we need to get you in for some testing, because that's something. She's like, you're firing on all cylinders, autism kind of thing, like, something along those lines. And she's like, obviously you have a more high functioning version of it, or form of it. It's not, you don't need like a ton of help with it, but it's definitely something that if you have it, we should get you some treatment to help better understand certain aspects of your life and try to balance some things out. So, and I was like, hell yeah, because that would explain the things that she kind of brought up, and then the things that I said when she kind of told me everything. I'm like, yeah, that kind of fits. And then she had me, my psychologist a long time ago, she had me do it, she gave me a test actually online for like, it was like through Harvard, it was like harvardstudies.com or something, I don't know, it was some collegiate medical something, has like an autism spectrum Asperger's syndrome test that you can take, and it's like 150 questions. Like, it digs into like every aspect of your life. Like, do you feel that you ignore your friends when you're in conversation? Do you feel that you talk too much? Do you feel like you talk too fast? Yes, yes, and yes. Like, it's just like, but it's like a million different things, and then like, but it's not like yes and no. It's like somewhat very like, it's like one of those things where it's like strongly likely, or strongly, somewhat strongly neutral, strongly disagree, slightly disagree, or something like that. So she gave me that months ago, and I completely forgot about it. And I had it tabbed in one of my browsers, and I took it like 2 months ago. And I actually have Messenger blowing up, but it's not anything of substance. Not trying to be mean, but it's just like, can you guys chill? Where was it? Damn it! Where's all my car got taken out in an ice storm, and what I mean by taken out, pardon me, excuse me again. We had an ice storm sweep through. Well, I'm looking for this, might as well tell you. We had an ice storm sweep through 2 weeks ago, and a massive branch came down while I was taking a nap. I was actually going to start driving for DoorDash that night just to start making some extra money, and my parents, when I woke up, my parents were like, hey, so we have some good news and some bad news. And I'm like, what's the good news? And they're like, so we moved your car out into the street because there were some branches coming down with the ice storm. And I just went, what's the bad news? And they're like, too late. I'm like, how bad is the damage? And he's like, well, your hood's got some damage, your fender's got some damage. And I'm like, ah, crap. And then he goes, oh yeah, and like I didn't, that was the first branch. I'm like, wait, the first branch? And he's like, yeah, the second branch took off your side mirror. I'm like, it's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So yeah, my car was disfigured, to say the least. Actually, I can show you that real quick. I don't know, my camera's kind of zoomed in on me, so I don't know how good this will look, but... So there's the branch. There's a massive branch, and there's the dent in my fender, dent in my hood. I don't know if you can kind of try to zoom in it. So if my camera's kind of focused on me right now, so I don't want to pull it closer to the camera. But then, that's my side mirror. Sorry. It's just like, oh my god. And he was like, yeah, it's like there's wires hanging out and everything. And like, you think? And yeah, the glass is on the ground. It was all shattered. I'm like, great. This is fucking great. I was like, just what I needed right now was my car to just be completely mangled up. Luckily, my car insurance is great enough that I think my parents actually have on their insurance that weather damage is called like act of God, and it's not covered under their insurance. Mine is for weather insurance. So I'm paying $250 for over $3,000 in damages. Thank you. Thank you, insurance. Fuck, where is this thing? Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Because I want to read, I don't want to mince it. I don't want to mince the words of it. I want to actually say the words. Fuck, where is it? Where are you? I just did this. Oh, there it is. So I did the test, like I said, it was 1,000,000 questions, and it said these results indicate that you have a strong likelihood of Asperger's syndrome or autism, and it says your score suggests you experience many or all of the most common traits experienced by those with an autism spectrum disorder. So yeah, so it said the assessment for autism is in depth and goes into great more detail, but they said this test is like more of a quick indicator test, but also it was 150 questions, so it wasn't very quick. And they were like, but this one is like very helpful in determining the baseline of where you are. And I was like, I would think so. But she added that test because she's like, I just want to see, if she's like, if you land in there, and then she's like, and if not, there's one other thing I think you might land in, and she's, but I'm not going to let you know about that until the first line of testing is done, because I don't want to throw too many things your way right away, and then we'll go from there. And it's like, okay. So I don't know what that other thing is that she thinks I might have. Yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. But the number one thing that is like kind of prevalent with my mental health right now is that I don't understand emotion very well. But I also don't like recognize when I'm like tangenting off of somebody's, like off a conversation. Like I'll be in a conversation with somebody and somebody will say something to me, and I'll keep continuing with what I was just saying as if that other person just hadn't said something to me. But I don't realize I'm doing it until after like a few minutes, and I'm like, hey, about that thing you said before, and like, you heard that? I'm like, yeah, what? Why? And they're like, because you didn't respond to it in the moment. I'm like, yeah, I did. Like, no, you didn't. And that's been said to me so many times the past like 2 years that I'm like, holy fuck, is this really a thing? And I think that if like a dozen different people have said it that have no relationship with each other at all, or don't even know each other at all, have all said the same thing, there's something to it. But the other thing was like, I can't really read emotion too well, and like sarcasm, like I can speak it, but I can't understand it, which is kind of a weird, what am I trying to say? It's kind of a weird revelation, I guess. Is that like, I speak sarcasm as like a second language, but I don't understand it like hardly at all. When somebody does it to me, I'm like, wait, no, I didn't mean it. And, like, I was being sarcastic. I'm like, oh, okay, good. Like, you really didn't get it? I'm like, no. Like, okay, because it was like a heavily sarcastic statement. I'm like, didn't know. But yeah, so I'm getting tested for that a week from today, and I have a psychiatrist appointment today just to check up because I skipped my one last month. That was depression fueled, so I got to explain that to her. But then I got assessed for the pain management program this past Tuesday, and that was rough. But I will be starting that program probably end of April, like April. I think April 24th or the May 1st is the starting date. One of those 2 days. It'll be 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday for 4 weeks. So yeah, it's 8 hours. It's 40 hours a week for 4 weeks. And it's therapy. I think it's 7 different types of therapy a day, but it's like different every day. And I was like, okay, that's gonna be interesting. And they're like, yep. And there's group therapy, there's one-on-one therapies, there's all different sorts of therapies, and it's all scheduled out for you to begin with. So there's not like, it's not that you have like the choice of like, I want to do all individual therapy. Like, you're going to be mixed in with a little bit of both. But it'll be, kind of good to see if we can get you back on the right track here, because it's all about getting the mind right, getting the body right for life. It's a month out of my life to get me ready for the rest of my life. Is basically how I told the doctor. I'm like, it might be a month of hell, but it's a month out of my life to get me ready for the rest of my life. And the doctor is like, so glad you have that mentality, because so many people come in here like, what? And I'm like, well, fortunately for me, I already had this appointment done once. It was 2 years ago that I had it done once, so I already know what I'm getting myself into for the most part. But it'll be a rough month, but I'm looking forward to it. And then next week, I'm done talking today because I'm at 40 minutes and this is too much already. Next week, Tuesday, will be my 6 years sobriety anniversary, so I'm going to make a video that day, because woohoo! I'm probably going to grab some party hats and streamers or something like that, just to, be goofy. And then Thursday I'll make another video, and shit balls, I was going to talk about something. I was going to say, because I actually had a topic in mind, I forgot what it was. I'll figure it out. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say today. My socials would be in the description as usual. Feel free to message me. Instagram would probably be the easiest to message me at. My Snap, I think you can't message me unless you're like friends with me, and usually I'll ignore a friend request if I don't know you. So message me on Instagram. Instagram, I always check, and I will always reply. Yeah, big shout out to all those people that are staying sober like me. And if you're not staying sober or you're trying to get sober, just know that you can do it. It's not easy. And nobody will fault you if you have a couple stumbles and falls on your way to the path to sobriety. The goal is wanting to, and as long as you want to, you will get there. So that is it for this week. I'll see everybody next week. Take care of yourselves. And tell someone you love them today, because you never know when it's going to be too late. So that's always what I gotta say. And thank you again. I will be back next week, I promise.